Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, I can't but help think back to my own time at Bath, where this journey which brings me here began. I don't think my memory is playing tricks if I say that that was a more hopeful, progressive, and youthful time. Coming here to England from Pakistan, I saw in the NHS and the post-war consensus a wonderful idea of how a community that cared for all its members could define a national vision. This sense of caring and the values and political convictions extended beyond borders in a deep international commitment. This was the height of decolonization. What was wonderful was how the young and cool people in England, I suppose, had decided to stand up against their own history and were in the forefront of the decolonization movement. Coming from a very political family, I was nonetheless very sheltered and inexperienced. It was huge fun to join protests for freedom for Africa, against nuclear weapons. Little did I realize how much this education would serve me in life. And of course, there was art, and photography, and filmmaking, and drama, and puppetry, and so much else that was offered by the Bath Academy of Art. One really felt that with the right values, with the right kind of art making, with a belief in a shared humanity, one could build bonds and find friends across oceans and continents, because everywhere there were people who would support you. Once back home, one soon learnt it wasn't all smooth sailing. Pakistan and India were into their first full-fledged war. To take the position of being a peacemonger is never comfortable, but one has been steadfast in that. The events of 1971 in Bangladesh were another eye-opener. In the bloodshed caused by military action against civilians and intellectuals, one suddenly saw that the path after freedom was not by necessity heading for peace and progress. One realized that a part of one's art must be for the struggle towards the future that one had glimpsed right here. Another Cold War warrior and dictator, General Zia-ul-Haq, put curbs on women that were unheard of even in conservative Pakistan. For the first time, we heard again and again that our place was behind the four walls of our homes and under a chadar. I protested again, not in the giddiness of youth, but as an adult and a mother, risking beatings and arrests by police and religious vigilantes. We founded the Women's Action Forum, which held protests in the harshest dictatorship, in which regular punishment for demonstrations was a public flogging. It was a long, bitter fight, not helped by the fact that the general was the darling of the Western world. Artistically, the challenge was how not to let such brazen barbarity turn one's own art into illustration. The worm turned, and the jihadis unleashed to defeat communism turned against the West. And then we had another warrior savior in Pakistan, another general, Musharraf. By this time, I was formally a member of the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, which we had managed to set up in the decade of democracy previously. The general took a leaf from magical realism and launched a coup against his own government because he found some sections of the Constitution inconvenient. We met to scratch our heads at this imbecility and got arrested and thrown in jail. My children were quick to point out that I was merely copying my poet father. I find in Pakistan at least, and maybe here too, the younger generation finds us seniors deeply uninspiring. Perhaps they have seen how we have made, or how we've hollowed out the once moving words. I can't think of a public figure after Nelson Mandela who is even marginally inspiring. So it is with great modesty and some trepidation that I offer the following homilies. Let us create things, the arts, schools, universities, children who won't take any nonsense lying down. Make friends with people who've come a long way from where you were born. Take part in public affairs and look to the left and right of you to see who you find yourself standing with. If you don't like them, or you find you don't like yourself, then think again about your path and choices. Looking back, what stands out most vividly for me is what I fought for and the people who stood by me in this fight. It is also enormously invigorating that so many of my compatriots who were lucky enough to find more affluent, comfortable lives seem, after all, not to have had so much fun as I have had. Thank you, BASFA, for this honor, and I thank you all for hosting people like myself from all over our planet.